The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Welcome to the Charlotte Motor Speedway here for one of the longest races. Actually, it is the longest race of the season for the United Sim Racing B&C Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series here tonight as we go on round number 9 here this season. I'm Austin Coop alongside me is Trevin Valderrama, and then Cisco Screws, as always, is going to be giving you that picture. And this is going to be one of those races that these drivers have to be extremely patient for. Last week, we saw quite a different story, but I have a good feeling this week, excuse me, I have a good feeling this week is going to be a lot different than last week, Trevin. This is a big racetrack, 1.5 miles and 200 laps. That's half the race distance of the Coke 600.
Yeah, absolutely a long race indeed, and you know, coming from last week, a short track where it was not a lot of room to work with. Now we're spacing out a little bit more to a 1.5 mile track, and you know, these guys are gonna have more room to work with. So we're gonna see a lot of guys just try to log some laps. You know, it is the longest race on the schedule, and it's gonna be a fantastic race to see how these guys line up and try to get through the race.
I can definitely tell you that fuel might be a big deal here tonight. Seth the Merchant, though, he leads the points, 270 points over Aaron Bennett, Jamie Walker, Rich Jetty, and Scott Simley. I think the most surprising in this top 5 is Rich Jetty, just for the fact that he's had some of the best average finishes over the season, but has not had that big race quite yet. You've got Cody Gibson, Scott Formosa, Justin Michael, Matt Mara, Chris Cabot, Michael Warren, and Mark McCurry. That's your top 12. And then they have a playoff system later on in the season. We're not really quite there yet to really talk about how that's going to really play, but of course, each race matters. And the guys looking on the outside in, Michael Atkins Jr., Tim Matthews, and George Hendricks are some of the closest guys that you'll find 13th, 14th, and 15th throughout this 15-car top 15 right here. And realistically, when you start thinking about how far we've already come, 9 weeks of this series, we've only got, let's say, a little over 10 races to go, including this one, until we get to the chase. So it is getting closer and closer to that point, and we're getting to the halfway point, and that's kind of typically where we start talking about those points being so important, Trevin.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, points are always going to be a factor in these races, and you know, any race counts with anything. With any race, and you know, these guys are always going to be fighting for these extra points that they can get anywhere that they can. So it doesn't really matter if it's the beginning of the season or, you know, 2 races left. They always want to make sure they're secured inside of the points for the playoff positions. And you know, it's always entertaining to see all these guys battle back and forth for all these points, and you know, watching them take moves that you may not see other drivers take, and seeing them change all their strategies up, and you know, like drivers just at the bottom just are trying to look for a win or try to look for consistent finishes to get through to the next round. So you gotta be watching for those guys at the bottom and at the top as well. You know, these guys also have to be consistent, maybe not really looking for a win, but you know, continue to be consistent throughout the rest of the season.
Definitely. We still have to go to some difficult tracks like Dover, Daytona, which can be a rally of its own. Then we go to USA International Speedway, a very, very short track, a lot similar to Martinsville. And then, of course, we ended out with Indy, like the Cup Series will be doing this next series, this next season. and the 2018 seasons. Well, and as these drivers are finishing up qualifying, they got about a few seconds left. They're going through the drivers meeting right now. It looks like John Jenkins, he will actually get the pole on this one if we just wait a couple more seconds. It is now official. John Jenkins has received the pole for this race, and I think in a very shocking fashion that he's able to get such a fast time here tonight. Definitely wasn't one of the fastest in practice, but got the job done here in the qualifying session. So we'll go through your starting grid here as we prepare for this 300-mile event, longest one of the whole season. It does look like Aaron Bennett is actually going to make the race. Looks like it earlier on tonight he was not going to be able to make it. John Jenkins, he'll start in the first position on pole, the 29.739. Dwight Beverly will start to his outside. He will be followed by Jamie Walker, who starts in third, with Tommy Rice starting fourth. Dwayne Dunn will start in the fifth position. Then you've got Seth the Merchant, Joshua Banks, Mark McCrary in eighth, Michael Atkinson Jr. in ninth, and you've got Justin Michael in 10th.
Steve Price Jr. will start in 11th, Tim Matthews in 12th, Matt Mara in 13th, Jesse P. Williams in 14th, Robert Gillenwater in 15th. Starting 16th will be Chris Cabot. Starting 17th will be Ricky Howell Jr. Bobby Terrell will be starting in the 18th position. In the 19th position will be Christian Peterson, and Ralph Vander Vorset will be starting in the 20th position.
Scott Simley will start 21st as he had a pretty quiet season as the defending champion. Then you've got Jody Green starting 22nd. Scott Formosa, he'll start 23rd with James Nunn starting 24th. But Shane Hawthorne 25th. 26th goes to Randy Tesser. This begins the long list of drivers who did not take times. Greg Mall, Aaron Bennett, who just arrived. And then you've got Dustin Hall and Michael Priester starting in the 29th position. Those last few drivers are kind of in a mixed order, but it looks like Michael Waite, Stephen Herring, Michael Priester will be the last drivers to end out the field here. 33 truck field and 300 miles, 200 laps. This is going to be a long race. So let's take a look at your track facts here. 1.5 miles here is what we're going to be racing here in Trevin, and with the bankings being around 24 degrees on the corners, and of course that back straightaway has a notorious 5-degree banking to it. We're going to see a very big developing race as it goes on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the lines will be changing over time as the track will get rubbered in, and it's nighttime, so there will be more grip to be had in the turns. If it were daytime, it wouldn't be too easy to get on these turns, but 1.5 mile track, and coming off of that short track at Lucas Oil, these guys are gonna be able to stretch their legs a little bit more and be able to log some laps. Easier to be able to log some laps, but you gotta watch out for all these changes that the track will be having over the 200 miles, and it's just going to be interesting to see how all these drivers adapt to everything that's going to be happening here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
John Jenkins is next to Dwight Beverly. He starts on the pole. This will be only his 6th start of the season. Most notably, this is his first pole this season and his best start to one of these races. We'll see how he does, as well as everyone else, as they round corner number 4. The pace car comes down pit road. John Jenkins, he will get the green flag momentarily. There it is. It's displayed. Green flag is in the air. We're off. We're racing for 200 laps here at Charlotte.
You see John Jenkins taking that lead away from, or excuse me, not taking it away, but getting that extended. Excuse me, my whole entire thing is messed up.
I'll take over from here. Looks like the 88 of Jamie Walker is able to get around the 01 of Dwight Beverly there in the corner, and this track is really wide. You're able to do 2x2 for quite some time, but something I'm already seeing is some drivers try and cheat the track, already going below the white line. I see the number 2 of Michael Atkins Jr. He was well below that white line, and as we're already seeing possibly a challenge for the lead. Looking at the number 88 of Jamie Walker going to the very bottom of the track. He's got a nose in on the 91 of John Jenkins, and he's going to pressure him for the lead right here, going down to the very bottom of the track, and he's going to be side by side with him. Not sure he's going to have the position just yet, but he might get it right here at the stripe. Yes, new leader. It's going to be the number 88, at least this time around.
Yeah, that was a fantastic charge for the lead for that number 88 machine. You see them still side by side coming in turn 1 and 2. You know, he's edging them out a little bit more. You see the dominant line is that lower line in the turn, but coming out on that top side, you have the 91 getting a fantastic run. That's John Jenkins. And, you know, you got to be watching for that all night long, see which line, you know, will come out on top each time coming out of these corners. And, you know, just that top line is starting to get a little bit of a run coming out of turns 2 and 4. As you see, it's still 2 by 2 just for the front, and then you have everybody else single filed out. You see the number 6 of Tommy Ryan trying to get involved in that action of Dwight Beverly as well. You see, maybe looking to go 3 wide, thinks better of it, just stays behind, trying to log some laps. Doesn't want to try anything too early, as you know, it's only lap 4 out of 200. So you start to see just a lot of drivers are starting to set in and not try to do anything too crazy, but you still see that battle going on for the lead as you see John Jenkins taking that lead back, and Jamie Walker still trying to take it away from him.
Jamie Walker cuts back in line, gets right behind the 91, but battle for third on back is still raging on. Looks like we got the 39 machine. That's going to be Dwayne Dunn. This is one of his best starts to these races. He's side by side with the number 6 of Tommy Ryan. He's trying to get around him, and you've got the 2 of Michael Atkins Jr. He's actually come up a couple or a few positions already throughout this race. He's trying very hard to get around these guys. He's really on par to get a lot of positions before they can go over, but realistically, this is just a massive pack we have right here. And I don't think I've really seen these drivers be this close this much at the beginning of a race. Except for last week, we had a lot of cautions, but so far these guys are keeping it clean. They're also giving each other a lot of room here, and this is first through. It looks like just the top 10 is that big group right there. Steve Price Jr. is going to start the second group, but they're starting to single file themselves out, and that'll mean they'll be starting to get a little bit faster, I'd say, but they look like they're still going 2 wide, almost 3 wide there for a moment. Looks like the 36 of Joshua Bank wanted to go 3 wide for a moment. Yeah,
and you see, you know, just a lot of cars together, and you know, it's a lot of give and take as you're seeing in the first moments of this race, and you know, it's very interesting to see all these guys just log some laps. You know, maybe after last year they had to talk and said, hey, we need to settle down. You know, we had way too many cautions. You see the 36 nearly getting to that number 57 of Seth the Merchant. Very, very close call. But, you know, these drivers probably had a talking to and said, you know, you got to calm down a little bit, got to get some laps in your belts. And, you know, it is 200 laps, and, you know, got to be careful. And, you know, maybe they're starting to feel the pressure of, you know, playoffs are coming quick. So, you know, you gotta get yourself into a good position for all these points. As you see, you know, just that more charging for the lead, as you see, so Dwight Beverly now taking that inside line next to John Jenkins. And you see such a great run on the inside, but then as you come out of turn 2, that number 91 of John Jenkins just gonna come out of that turn like a rocket and just catch back up. As you see number 6 of Tommy Ryan also trying to get into that mix. You see, you're going to be watching this all night long to see which lane will perceive at the end of the race. You know, now the number 6 and the number 39 of Dwayne Dunn trying to get involved inside this top mix, and you just see them going back and forth. And the more back and forth they go, the quicker that the guys behind them will catch them. So, you know, if you stay in this straight line right now, it's going to start getting spread out, but if you go side by side, it'll give them some time to catch up.
Yeah, really what you're saying is John Jenkins is really effectively defending his position right here. I mean, it was pretty exciting to see the 01 go to the bottom and try and pass, but realistically, John Jenkins kind of has it figured out, or at least at the beginning of this race, to say, hey, the top side's where it's at. It's really fast up there. You don't really have to to turn the car as much. That right front doesn't get, you know, used up as much. You're going to lose a little bit more gas, I'd say, unless you're able to really make the car, you know, I don't know how this bottom is going. Everyone's just going to the top. I'd say you're still probably using at least a little bit more fuel on the top side, but realistically, look at him start pulling away. This is a really good performance he's gotten. As we start looking back to second place, look at the 39. He's going to try and pass. That's Dwayne Dunn. He's looking for third position right here over the 6 machine. He goes up the track just a little bit, and he comes down, trying to get around both drivers in this corner. They make a little bit of contact right there, and he's going to be able to get the position just for a moment, the 0-1 of Dwight Beverly is going to be able to get some momentum on the outside like you just talked about. And this is where maybe the 39 stalls out. He's not. He's actually going to slide right in front of the 0-1. And I see a crossover move happening. Here he goes. Oh, he's going to touch him. They're going to wreck right in front of the field. Big wreck.
Wow.
He's going to get hit again. Oh, he's going to get nailed. Oh, man. Simley's in it. The 13 is in it.
That was just a recipe for disaster. You know, seeing all these guys come, you know, so close, and you know, the guys just started getting closer and closer as the race wore on. You can see the intensity start to ramp up a little bit, and you know, it just got tagged by the 0-1, and then more recipe for disaster. You can see cars going everywhere trying to avoid it.
Yeah, really unfortunate that these drivers were so racy so quick. I knew the 0-1 had the speed, but he just barely got into the 39 enough to get the air off the rear end, and I don't think there was any actual contact. If it was very slight, but it's a little early to be doing that. And for a 200-lap race, there's a lot of beat-up trucks. I think the 4 Fuel and Water was in it. The 13 of Jody Green came by and late, and these guys really didn't have a lot of time to slow down for the wreck. It just kind of came so quickly, and you're going about 170 miles an hour, and just you don't have a lot of time to really react to some of this stuff that's going on the track.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's hard to adjust to a wreck that's happening right in front of you when you're going about 180, 175, and you know, it's difficult as a driver, you know, to make a split-second decision, because you know, if you do this one thing, you don't know what's going to happen. If you do another, you also don't know what's going to happen. So you know, you have such a small reaction time to decide what you want to do. It's very hard for these drivers to decide, and you know, with a track like this, it's almost like Talladega. You know, you're going very fast, and you're going, as you saw, very close together, and you know, you just got to make a split-second decision, and you know, try to avoid that wreck as best you can. But sometimes you're not so fortunate and get involved inside that wreck.
These drivers came down pit road, and looks like we're going to have John Jenkins still our leader. Dwight Beverly will still be in second. Unsure of penalties or any penalties that'll be handed down after that caution. There is sometimes, or typically, what's supposed to happen is they're supposed to have an EOL penalty to whoever caused the wreck. They'll take a claim themselves, and they'll get a strike. If they get 2 strikes by the end of the night, they will be out of the race for the night. But that kind of changes the way this race will go on in the future. I said that this race will be a developing story depending on how these drivers want to race it. And I guess you could really say that about any race, but this is a really long race. So early caution is going to possibly get strategies, but I don't see that with anybody up here towards the front. Jenkins is still the leader. He hasn't led every lap, but he has basically been up front leading the way this whole time. Then you've got Dwight Beverly. He was just involved in that accident. And then you've got Seth the Merchant. He is in second, or he's in third. Then you've got Tim Matthews and Matt Mara, and then Christian Peterson. No surprise here for how well he does in every series he goes into. He's 19th to 6th with no practice time and an okay qualifying time.
Yeah, Christian Peterson, always have to watch out for him, as well as Seth the Merchant. You know, these two guys work together so well, and you know, you always see these guys up in the front of the field every single race that you watch them in, and it's just fantastic to see them work and maneuver around all these guys. And you saw, you know, he started 19th and he's all the way up to 6th, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see him up in the top 5 by the time this night is done, as you see him get doubled up, getting ready for that restart. Maybe these guys are talking to themselves, maybe saying, you know, it's only lap 16, we have 200 laps, and it's going to be a difficult one to, you know, keep steady, as you know, like this is such a great track for 2 different lines to be running, as you've been seeing all night long. And you know, these guys just want to battle and get some laps under their belts. Some just want to keep fighting for that lead and start fighting for position, as you saw.
Like no penalty after that accident, but these guys will get back in charge of the race here in just a moment. They're on the back straightaway, and top 10, Jenkins, Beverly, DeMerchant, Matthews, Mara. Then you've got Peterson, Williams, Justin, Michael, Howell Jr., and then you've got Bobby Terrell, who has also had a pretty silent season so far. He's been there a lot of times. No big races from him just yet in the season, but I'm sure those are to come for that number 14 machine. iRacing pace car down and away, and John Jenkins gets to decide when we go here on lap number 17, and he goes. Good start for the 91. He's going to be off and away 2 by 2 already for second place. The Merchant looks like he's going to have a great advantage going into 1.
That was a fantastic restart by John Jenkins. That's going to be a storyline of the night with all the restarts that could happen. You know, you get a great restart, and you know you're going to be off to the races. You're now seeing the number 01 of Dwight Beverly just falling back very quickly, and now the number 23 of Christian Peterson going to take advantage of that. He is now up into 4th position, and you know he's only going to make himself known to all these guys up here from that. And as you see, John Jenkins still leading the lap right there. Yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see all these guys just run this race and see what line they take. You know, you got 2 different lines you're seeing very dominant right now. But we'll see if anybody else tries to challenge a 3rd line, tries to make a 3rd line late in the race, try to make some drastic decisions. And now you see these guys up front running single file, but the first battle will be about for 5th position. And you see that side-by-side action between Matt Mara and Dwight Beverly.
I'd say that Dwight Beverly at least has a little bit of damage off of that last incident that he had. He'd get doored on the right side after making contact, and I think that is definitely affecting his speed. At a track like this, momentum's everything, and it does look like that right side is just crinkled up a little bit. Yeah, it looks like that right front nose is actually pretty bad, and so he will probably not have a very quick truck in comparison to the ones around him. Ricky Howell Jr. is going to start hunting him down, and I'd imagine that it's going to be quick work of the 01. After an incident that early in the race, it's quite a shame. He's going to have to deal with that the rest of the race unless he can get that fixed. That's only if we have a lot more cautions. Looking out towards the front, we are having a close battle for the lead. Looks like John Jenkins is going to start getting pressured by Seth the Merchant and Tim Matthews. Matthews has relatively been quiet so far this season. You're seeing Seth the Merchant really make big gains on the 91 right here. The 91's been pretty conservative, taking that top line every single lap. But here comes the charge from Seth the Merchant. One of only 3 winners in 8 races. He's going to the very bottom of the track, and he's got a nose in on him. He's all the way there. Doesn't quite have the positioning yet, but he is right there on his tail. Going to the very bottom of the track, he's going to try and execute this pass here in the next couple laps, but it's going to take just a little bit to do it.
Yeah, now you see the number 91 trying to fight back on that outside line, and Seth the Merchant trying to find a way to get around him quickly on that inside line. But you know, you're seeing just the number 91 on that high side just continue to get a good run off the bottom. So now, you know, with the battle ensuing right there, you can see Tim Matthews, you know, just creeping in slowly, and soon it will be a 3-car battle. I don't think it's going to become a 5-car battle because the second group is too far back, but easily could turn into a 3-car battle with all these all the side-by-side action that's going on. But fantastic racing so far from all these front runners that we've seen throughout the night. As you're now seeing just a little bit more separation between the two, and that 54 trying to track both these cars down is getting very close between these drivers. Now you see that side-by-side action down the back straight, and now into turns 3 and 4 you see a little bit of advantage to this Seth the Merchant 57 machine, and now 91 battling back on that outside line, and it's just fantastic racing. And Seth the Merchant will take the top spot on that lap. But you know, you start to see just how hard it's going to become for these drivers to make passes. That took a whole 4 or 5 laps to complete that pass, and you know that was absolutely flawless by Seth the Merchant. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys will react to all this, and how these guys will be able to battle back. And now you see them single file out again. When does John Jenkins try to look to that bottom side and try to make another pass on Seth the Merchant?
So Seth the Merchant is becoming our 3rd leader of the night. Only other one to lead a lap so far in this race is going to be number 88, JB Walker, who finds himself all the way back in 20th position. But I will also say that the number 91 does have a little bit of right front damage, which, as I just said about Dwight Beverly, any kind of damage at a momentum track like this will set you back. Those drivers on a long run that have good trucks that are not hurt at all are going to be those drivers who eventually find their ways to the front. And I can only imagine that knowing that you've just got a little bit of damage is the difference between the speed that the Merchant has and the advantage of the top is a little frustrating. But right now, John Jenkins is just right there, just falling in his tracks, you know, maybe even learning a little bit from what Seth the Merchant has to have. And the Merchant, I'm sure, followed Jenkins the same way, said, all right, this is where he's beating me at. I'm going to start doing that and then maybe even build upon that. Following a driver can be one of the best things, and it's almost more of an advantage as these runs go on. So the Merchant currently leads. And looking through the field, definitely want to look at the number 48 of Michael Waite, who's come all the way from 31st position to 14th. And then when you look in front of him, Aaron Bennett, who has not been able to really be on the sim as of late because of the snowstorm, was able to get in 3 minutes before the race started. He's already at 13th position, so some big movers really close to each other right now.
Yeah, and if you look up a little bit further than Aaron Bennett, you see the pass, number 87 to Ricky Howell Jr. You know, it's again, you saw that bottom line work for the number 87. And you know, it's very hard to decide which line is preferred, or excuse me, stronger right now, because you see the bottom line getting so much speed in the middle of the corner and on the entrance, but on the exit, that top line is just fantastic work. As you see a little bit further, you know, you got that 41 of Jesse Williams battling with the number 01 of Dwight Beverly and Tommy Ryan. Dwight Beverly, the one that fell back on that restart, falling back even more. You just see the consistent battles between all these drivers up front. You can see all the intensity starting to get up in the air here, as you know these guys have got to be thinking about points all race long. As you see now, Dwight Beverly falling back very much. Very close call for Tommy Ryan on the outside wall. Going to give advantage to the number 41 of Jesse Williams, and going to try and get that pass done on turns 1 and 2. You see number 6 of Tommy Ryan just very close to that outside wall, getting very close, and then trying to get everything that he can, but it just wasn't enough. Jesse was able to get around him and able to get into that 8th position, as now Tommy Ryan trying to get his position back, and it's going to be very hard-fought battle for these two guys.
Yeah, speaking of Dwight Beverly, he's going to lose more positions right now. He's got the 18 Ricky Howell. He's got Aaron Bennett right behind him, and Michael Waite. And those two drivers, those last two drivers are some of the fastest right now. And you can see Aaron Bennett making a move on the 18 right here. He's going to go to the bottom of the track here, and he's going to try and execute that pass. And in a way, he's going to be using him as a pick because the 01 is quite slower here. He's going to come out of the corner. He's going to be looking really good right here. And this is going to almost break him into the top 10. If he gets around the 01, he'll go from 28th to 10th, which then he'll become, actually it looks like the 48 of Michael Waite's also following him. And look at the 18, he's going to the bottom knowing that the 01 does not have a good truck right now. So this battle here with the 01 is only going to continue. He's only going to lose more positions, and it's very frustrating to be in the cockpit of a car that's damaged, but this is still a long race. Getting that damage fixed can happen. He's got to hope for at least one caution between now and I'd say about halfway through the race, because that truck will probably be lapped eventually if it continues to go green the rest of the race. And I'll tell you, these guys can do it. They've shown it before, they've done it before, and they've had some really clean races. Last week, I said probably a fluke, and really, so far this race, we've had one caution, and it does look to be like one of those flukes that are occasional in any league. If you've been in iRacing for long enough, you've had those races where you know that the pictures are looking a little bit better in the long run. And right now, looking at Bobby Terrell and the 22 of Matt Mara, they're going at it, and the 14 is going to the bottom. I said Bobby Terrell is going to have a good race here soon. This might be it. He's executing the pass in turn number 2, and he's going to get the job done. But oh, look at the 22. He's looking on the inside just for a moment, but he's actually going to let him have it.
Yeah, fantastic battling all around. You know, these turns, this track rather, is all for fantastic battles in and outside on each lane. And you know, you're seeing this all night long, and this is going to make for great racing and great setups. And you know, you see Bobby Terrell just made a fantastic pass, and now you see number 87 of Justin Michael tracking down that number 22 machine of Matt Mara, looking to make a pass and see if he does it in turns 3 and 4. Getting very close to him. you see now Christian Peterson moving up to the front, excuse me, Seth the Merchant now in the lead, and Christian Peterson just tracking down his teammate. You know, we were talking about this earlier. You're going to see these guys towards the front, and now it's getting close.
Yeah, John Jenkins, last time we talked about him, he was in second position. He's lost a few more positions, or a couple more positions. Tim Matthews has also got around him, but he's lost position to Christian Peterson, so realistically he's still in third, and I feel like he's probably like, well, I passed the guy, but then I got passed, so realistically he's still doing a good job because those two in front of him are blistering fast, and I'd say Christian Peterson might be able to get around Seth the Merchant either this time or next time. He really got a lot of speed right there out of the corner at number 2, and the Merchant has the speed right now, but Christian Peterson has some really good tires, or has really had some great conservation right now, because he's going to the bottom. He's going to pass the 57 right here on the inside, and he looks to be like one of the fastest trucks on the racetrack. Gets his left side tires in the grass just for a moment. He's going to go up the track, walk it up, and almost door the 57, but this is going to give a lead change to the number 23 of Christian Peterson. He's done a great job going from 19th to 2nd, had one caution, which really helped him out. This is the guy to watch. He's going to try and make it down a lot of starts to try and make that top 12. Currently where he sits, I think, is in the 31st position, 159 points back from the guy behind him, Seth the Merchant. So that was Christian Peterson's first lap sled, but I think we're going to see a lot more from him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, we're definitely going to see a lot more, because you know, he just went from 19th to 1st in about 40 laps, and that's fantastic for a driver who didn't really have any practice, and a solid qualifying time, and now he's just beating his way up the field, and now he's here. So that was a fantastic executed pass on that number 57 to Seth the Merchant, and Christian Peterson now starting to slightly, ever so slightly, pull away from him. He gets up towards the wall, very, very close, coming into turn 1, and just look at him move down to the bottom, then back up, using every inch of that racetrack in that turn, getting such a fantastic run. You see the gap starting to separate a little bit more now between the 57 and the 23. So we'll be keeping an eye out on that. Moving a little bit further back, if battle for third place heating up now between Tim Matthews and John Jenkins. Throw number 87 of Justin Michael into that mix. You see the number 91 just tried to duck down low but couldn't get it done. But now 87 going to try his hand on the number 91, or excuse me, the number 54 machine, coming in out of turn number 2, but it's just not working out too well for them. You see them side by side still trying to catch back up to that number 54 machine, but they're going to need to set up a little bit better in order to get past the number 54 machine. Now that number 14 starting to close in ever so slightly on those 3 drivers.
I'll take a moment and look a little bit further in the pack here. There's a big group of drivers here within a couple seconds of each other, which starts with the number 18 of Ricky Howell Jr., who's being caught by Greg Mall, who had probably one of the most amazing races he's had in his entire career on iRacing, and not just this league, but in all of his racing, going from 33rd to 3rd in their entire green flag run. He's doing it again by coming from 27th to the front, although he's not the only one. Some guys in front of him are doing the same thing, except they caution so far to kind of split the air. But there's a big group of drivers right here that are just really fighting for position. The 18 right now is losing some position on the 12, and the 88s come up through it as well. And then you've got Ralph Vander Vorst. He's right there on the outside, but look at Steve Price Jr. He's right there on the bottom. This is this big group of drivers, and they were side by side, almost all 2 by 2, but now it's a lot less of that. But you see the 88 go to the bottom, so just a big group of drivers right here trying to get a little bit, and almost like the 18 lose it right there in the quadruple here on the front straightaway. But we're on lap 44 right now of 200, getting really, really close to 1/4 of the way of this distance.
Yeah, and you know, these drivers possibly might be starting to think about either fuel or tires. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how these guys will take strategy into effect here tonight. As you see, quite a few cars just starting to gaggle up behind the number 22. So now we're going to start to look towards the back of towards the pit lane, and some drivers coming down to get to the pit lane to get service.
Looks like the number 5 of Chris Cabot, James Nunn, the 75, they have come down pit road, but none of the leaders have done so quite yet. Christian Peterson and company still out there on the track. I don't see anyone else coming down right now, at least. Yeah, looks like everybody else is staying out, so a very short pit strategy from these drivers. Looks like they are both out of their pit stalls and on their way. A couple of the drivers on pit road, but they're currently getting damage fixed, so that would include Dwayne Dunn and Robert Gillenwater, who were in that earlier accident. They are still trying to fix what they've got, but looking at the distance between our first few drivers, I think it's just really imperative that we note just how fast these drivers are. Christian Peterson is 7/10 in front of Seth the Merchant, who is 7/10, or 1 second in front of Justin Michael. Justin Michael is probably another 7/10 in front of Tim Matthews, so a big gap between these first few drivers, and it's kind of a small cluster and then a bigger cluster of drivers. And you talked about earlier, these drivers go side by side. It becomes really difficult to be your fastest. You said Christian Peterson earlier, using the entire track to his advantage, and some of these drivers are coming down pit road. We got another one. Looks like the 87 of Justin Michael. He's coming down pit road for service. No one else is coming down. Perhaps a thinking method of this is the fact that if I come down alone, I won't have anyone to race with on the same strategy. I can just run my own line and not have to deal with it. No one else coming down pit road, actually. The number 78 of Steve Price Jr., he's coming down, and Michael Atkins Jr., he's coming down. Christian Peterson did not make the cone. I think that's going to be a penalty for Christian Peterson. He did not make the first cone. So, gonna have to see what that turns into.
Yeah, and that's a big mistake for Christian Peterson. You see all these drivers all coming down at the same time, and it may cost him quite a bit if he has to wait in his stall because of that. And it's just a mistake that you cannot make if you're in the lead. And now you're starting to see him pull out of the way, and now Seth the Merchant, the current leader, will be coming down pit road, rocks them up hard. Don't know if he made the thing in time, but that was very interesting, interesting to see. He just straight locked them up, and it's going to be close to see if he made the pit limit on time.
Knowing him, he's done that a number of times, so I'd say he's probably good. We'll have to see whether Peterson has to come down this time. I'm getting the word from our producer, Cisco, that he will be fine, so it doesn't appear that you have to make that first cone in order for that to trigger a penalty. So he will stay out, and that should probably gain a whole lot, because he locked the tires out going into 4, went all the way up the track, and then came striking down in a similar fashion. So he's got the number 91 of Justin, or the 87 of Justin Michael right behind him, but he's got better tires, so those drivers going to be the leaders when it comes down to it. And we've seen Justin Michael really make some gains on pit road right now, although he's still going to be a little bit behind the 8-ball, be behind the number 23 of Christian Peterson. And as this pit road cycle begins to go around, Sammy Walker continues to be out there. But actually, no, he's down pit road. He led that last lap, so he's coming out pit road now. So a little bit of a late pit strategy for him. He usually chose the early pit strategy, but perhaps he feels very confident in that 88 machine. Well, at this point, while we wait for this action to sort itself out on pit road, we will take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back to watch all the action.
I'm driving the number 20 JGR Toyota Xfinity car this weekend. Really great opportunity here at New Hampshire at my home track. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been on iRacing, practicing a little bit here and there with the modified and the NASCAR Xfinity car, so it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great tool for me to kind of get used to that stock car body again and be prepared for the race today. Well, yeah, it's a mile long, so the draft kind of plays into effect here with the modifieds. Punches a big hole in the air, and we run restrictor plates, so it makes a big difference. Just really fast, and it's our Daytona, so that's what's great about it, and we have a fast car for tomorrow. I think the biggest thing is they're heavier cars. The tire's a lot different, and the way you go about setting them up is a lot different. They use all 4 tires more than a modified, where we typically drive off the right rear, you know, so. Well, actually, it's funny. I raced NASCAR race in 2003 before iRacing came about, and then when iRacing came about, my friend Kevin Iannarelli, who works at iRacing, kind of told me, hey man, you need to switch over to this, and when I did, I was like, oh my God, this is like real life. So I started using it as a tool of mine to really prepare for modified races, whether it was Stafford or Thompson or Loudon, Bristol, and then obviously the Xfinity Series last year, going to road courses, trying to get laps, and use it as a tool that can get me as prepared as I could be without actually doing it. So it's been great.
The yellow flag is out. Pit road is now open. Keep your eye on those gauges. We'll give you 4 tyres. 3, 2, 1, now. We're done. Get going.
Red Bull GRC is now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible, and I really think you guys are going to love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
Welcome back to Charlotte, as Justin Michael has retaken the lead, or not retaken, but taken it for the first time tonight. He's led a few laps. However, Christian Peterson, the one he just passed, he is starting to hunt him back down. Here, we are lap 59 of 200 tonight. One of the longest races we'll have on broadcast, and the longest race these drivers are running this season. But Justin Michael and Christian Peterson looking to battle it out, and then John Jenkins finds himself in third, 1.3 seconds back, with Tim Matthews in fourth, and Bobby Terrell finds himself in fifth. And some really big movers throughout this field. Aaron Bennett has got himself from 28th to 6th, which is he's absolutely one of the biggest movers. And then you've got Greg Mall, who started in 27th up to 12th. Michael Waite, he fell back a little bit in that pit cycle, and right now he's 15th. He was starting in the 31st position. So some big movers so far in this one, but the movers you're wanting to look at are those first two, Michael and Peterson. Probably one of the more exciting races right now.
Now we're going to look back towards Jamie Walker, the number 88 machine, as you see him just battling it out on that bottom lane, passing the number 64 and looking to set his sights on the number 78. He is moving up the wing very, very eagerly, as you see just him working on that bottom side versus the top side. It's just working out well for him, and now you see number 78 is Stephen Price Jr. Seeing that lane and saying, hey, it's kind of working out for him, so I'm going to try it as well. And you know, you can also adjust your line based on mirror driving, as you know, just as easy as it is if you're following him. And now you see him ducking down to that bottom line, and you see now it's side by side coming out of that corner, a little bit of an edge to Steve Price Jr. And now coming into turn number 1, he's going to try it again. You see him edging him ever so closely, and you see the number 12 also Greg Mall reeling in those two drivers, as you see side by side. It's not really going to help them with trying to get distance between them, but we'll see how it works out.
You got to remember, he was one of the last drivers to come down road. He and the number 78 of Steve Price Jr. So of the two drivers that were on that strategy, or sorry, Steve Price actually came in a little earlier, so he is passing him based on a little bit of strategy here. He took tires way later in the game, and I think the 12 of Greg Mall did. He was in the kind of the middle of that group as well, but Mall equally as fast, I think, as the 88 right now, and is trying to get around on the bottom side. This little 5-pack group right here coming around turns 3 and 4. They're 8 seconds off the pace. They're quite a bit off, and realistically, you kind of want to be by yourself at this point in the race. When you're in a long green flag run, you really want your own speed to kind of propel you to where you should be in this race. When you have the battle guys side by side, it definitely slows you down, as the 88 is still fending off some drivers, and the 12 is going down to the very bottom. And unsure what he's doing right here. He's going to the bottom of the track, then going into the top, and I think that more or less slowed him down, but I'm not sure that's what he wanted to do, is trying to hug that white line on the very bottom. But battle still ensuing here about inside the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, at 12, maybe he's trying something different. I'm not too sure. I saw that, and that was more of an IndyCar move trying to break the draft, but nonetheless, he's trying to work on that number 78 machine and trying to he's got to his rear quarter panel, so he's closing it a little bit. Now he's falling in behind, and he's going to try that bottom lane again to see how it works out for him. You see him closing in a little bit, but that 78, again, gonna get that run off the corner, as now the number 88 of Jamie Walker starting to walk away with it a little bit more.
Yeah, with Greg Ball doing that move so much, he's actually starting to really wear those right sides down, and I think he's going to need to probably let those tires cool down for a little bit. He is still pretty fast right here at this point, but realistically, looking at it, I think the 12 has got a faster truck than the 87. He's got to look for a time to do it, and the 78 makes a mistake. It's tight in the corner, and this might be his chance to do it. Yeah, he's going to get clear of him. So not going to the bottom actually worked out, trying to really just make it a realistic line on the top, and looks like the 41's coming as well. So a little bit of mistake here is going to cost the 78 machine here in turns 1 and 2. And you go all the way back, all the way to the front here once again, and looks like Christian Peterson has actually kind of fallen off the front of this. It looks like Justin Michaels just got something hooked up in comparison, at least right now. As we cross lap number 68 here with the leaders, we do want to give a big shout out for the BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series, as the coverage of the United Sim Racing League's series tonight is brought to you by them. Their mission is to deliver premium landscapes to commercial and residential properties. They are located in southern Delaware, providing services to the Sussex County region. If you have any landscaping needs, you can call them at 302-381-6073. That is the title of the league series in these trucks, as they've done last season and this season, and they do a spectacular job with what they do. Justin Michael currently leads his Young Guns Chevrolet here, but I have a funny feeling that is going to change very quickly. Christian Peterson just ate a 10th off of him that last time, and this time another 10th. Peterson is coming.
Absolutely, and you see Christian Peterson just closing in ever so slightly on Justin Michael. There, you see a lot of drivers on different pit strategies, so it's going to be interesting to see how these guys and strategies wear off over the course of this race. And it's already lap 70. They've only had one caution, so I'm expecting to see a lot more green flag pit stops as the night wears on. And you see all that effect from Jamie Walker coming in through the pits late and running through the field. And it was just interesting to see all this different pit strategies, how these all worked out. And now Justin Michaels just absolutely trying to pull away from Christian Peterson, but he is closing in ever so slightly on him.
I will say the strategy by Justin Michael is really working quite a lot. I mean, 4 pit stops, he was in the third position, kind of trying to hunt these guys down, and he was multiple seconds behind, or not multiple, but about a second and a half behind the leader of Christian Peterson, and we're almost halfway through this field run, I'd say, and I think this is a really smart move, and Peterson might have to think to himself, hey, you know, I've got to get into pit road better. I've got to make maybe a different decision here coming to pit road. Maybe pit with him and try and beat him on raw speed. But then when you change your strategies, that really going to benefit you, because this is a long race. Fuel is going to matter here. There's a lot of drivers who are going to try and make it the distance, try and take as long as they can out on the track, get themselves some extra laps out there on the track. 2 laps apiece. I say we're going to have 4 more pit stops on green flag at least. That's almost 10 laps. That's a big difference between taking another pit stop or not.
Absolutely. All of these guys have to adjust accordingly, whether this goes on for the rest of the race, the rest of the scheduled 200 laps, or if 5 more cautions come out, or even 1 more caution. It's going to throw a wrench in all these guys' strategies, and they're going to have to adjust and make a new one, or become creative to their current one. And it's always exciting to see what may come of a late race caution or a midway caution. And it's quite the thing, as you see now. Justin Michaels coming up on lap traffic as he's starting to close in a little bit more on him, but is also keeping Christian Peterson at bay a little bit, and he gained a little bit more time on him throughout the rest of the race.
And Justin Michaels actually pulling away again once more, and I think this is just kind of showing the difference that Justin Michael really has some consistent speed out there on the track. As I think Christian Peterson does too, but Peterson did lose a little bit that last time, and I think right now this is actually looking pretty interesting for that 87 right now. The fact that he's got himself on a different strategy than Peterson. Peterson hit a lot, I'd say a lot later. Or yeah, he pit later than him, and I'll say that this is looking really good for Justin Michael, and might have to look a little bit for that strategy. Going for the 3rd place, though. Look at the number 54 of Tim Matthews trying to go for it. Going for that podium spot. 91 on the outside, as he's done so much this race. He's not going to be able to get it. In the 3 of Aaron Bennett. He's right there in the clutches, and he's going to go to the inside right now and go for that position.
Yeah, you see the battle continue to play off as you see the number 3 dive down to the inside. Aaron Bennett now trying to make work of the number 91 machine of John Jenkins, as he's gotten clear of the number 54 of Tim Matthews, and now trying to reel in the number 91, trying to get to that podium position. Aaron Bennett, again, was unsure if he was going to make it tonight, but you see him dominating the field, starting to dominate the field, starting at 28th and now up to 5th. That's just fantastic work in 79, 78 laps. And now you see him just try to get that inside line working a little bit more, but the 91 has just got that outside line dialed in. As you see him start to reel him in on that corners, but again, running away with it on the outside was that number 91 of John Jenkins.
Yeah, he's done that all night long. He started off from the pole and did not give up the lead. Then the guys behind him had wrecked. It was a great plan for him to just stay at the top. Don't let those guys pass him on the bottom. But right now, he's in a good position to keep that going right now. But look at the lead. It's gotten a little bit larger here. Justin Michael has got himself a half-second lead over Peterson. I'd say Peterson's really locked up that right front. Or not locked it up, but has actually used it a little bit more than he'd be expecting to here tonight. And being 2nd place is not bad, but he wants to get the lead, and looks like we're going to have some pit stops, and he doesn't tell him when he's going to go. The 11 runs into the outside wall, and there's going to be some drivers that don't make it. The 91 does not make the pits. John Jenkins will have to go around one more time, and so Justin Michael comes down. Christian Peterson comes down. I said they might come down together because Peterson wants an advantage on the track, and the advantage is going to be heads-up racing. Those guys come down pit road kind of unexpected, but Peterson did not let anybody behind him know, and I don't know if Michael did either, to be fair. So that created the 11. I think that's going to be Shane Hawther. He went right into the outside wall, and he's going to have a very difficult night. And look at Peterson. He's going to delay it on pit road.
That was very, very interesting play by the number 87 of Justin Michael. You saw him just come down and pit lane unannounced, and 23 also followed his movements, and 11 got sent up in the wall. But that was fantastic work by the number 87, but not good enough for Christian Peterson. As you see, now he's leading. Most likely will cycle out to the leader after all of these pit stops are said and done. But now the news is we are starting to see some green flag pit stops coming about again. You see now number 23 Christian Peterson working on all these all these lead lap cars. He is the lap car actually, and now trying to just make the best of it, try to get as much an advantage as he can against that number 87 before these tires wear out throughout the next stint.
Yeah, so Seth the Merchant led that last time by, and there's going to be a lot of other drivers that are trying to make it the distance here on field. Merchant's still out there on the track, and that's a couple laps that he's been out there. So he's lapped everybody but the top 11 right now. And you can definitely see that he's not one of the fastest trucks on the field, and so he's going to stretch his field just a little bit longer. I'm just curious if he can get another pit stop or one pit stop less, which I said 4 or 5. I think it's going to be 6 pit stops between the end of this one for these guys if it goes great all the way. So Christian Peterson is coming down pit road. He's going to make those tires as clean as they can be coming down pit road, and so he'll give up the lead. Like Joshua Banks and everyone else would be leaders, but it looks like a couple more guys are coming down pit. But as they come down pit road, I'm looking at these guys, the 23 and the 87. They're still doing battle here on the track, and Peterson's got the advantage, and that's all because of his track. His time on pit road was quicker and more efficient, so he's still doing battle. It's been a great battle for the last 40 or so laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Battles all around the racetrack, as you see Seth the Merchant in the lead now, coming down the pit lane actually, and followed by Joshua Banks, and now Christian Peterson looking to cycle back into the lead on lap number 85. As you see just all these different strategies starting to come out into play, as you see just all these drivers come out onto the racetrack, and that's always got to be very nerve-wracking for all these drivers that are slow and trying to come back up into traffic. And you know, it's got to be very, very careful procedure, because you don't want to get involved in some of these too wide racing and just take away that bottom lane and mess them up from the next turn and get a very angry driver at you. So you got to watch out for that as well. It's not just entering, it's also exiting. Now Christian Peterson to the lead again, waiting for that next pit cycle to happen.
Yeah, now you've got to think to yourself, if you're Justin Michael, that he's on the same strategy as I am on now, which it wasn't the case earlier, and I think that's a big deal, the fact that he's got himself guys got to beat him fair and square on the racetrack and not with the strategy. And Peterson had the strategy earlier, but looks like he's going to go to the bottom of the track and try and make a pass, but right now that does not look like it's going to happen. Justin Michael will have to try again for that lead position, and he really close that time, but just did not have enough to muster, but also have one car behind them. That's going to be Steve Herring. Like he's behind these guys. Looks like he actually has fresher tires than both of them in front of him, but I don't know if he's going to want to get in the mix of it. But look at him right there. 87 all over his back bumper. Gets to the inside of him here in turn number 1. He's going to dive down to the bottom of the track. This is for the lead. And he's going to inch up just a little bit in the middle of the corner. He's actually going to have over half a truck length in front of Christian Peterson right here. So going into turn number 3, he's going to have the advantage, and Peterson's going to lay off the gas just a little bit early, but Peterson right back to the gas, and he might look to go under him in the corner, but not the case. So Justin Michael will regain the lead, and this is going to be a fight between them, I'd say, for the rest of the races. They are 2 seconds in front of the rest of the field. Oh, and by the way, they still gain time on everyone behind them. They're just that fast right now.
It's fantastic to see these drivers just on the same strategy, now going to be able to battle it all out fair and square, and you know, still pulling away from all these drivers behind them. Aaron Bennett all the way up to 3rd now, so if there's a caution, maybe all these guys are begging for a caution, and these guys up here are saying, I don't want a caution, I'm just going to fight it out for the rest of this time. And it very much could be a caution free race, as you guys are seeing all these drivers race so cleanly, with the exception to that first wreck. This is so opposite than what we saw last year, and I agree with you, Austin. That last weekend was indeed a fluke, because now you just see these guys racing so clean, giving each other an inch or 2. And maybe you won't see that for coming down with the last 25 laps or so, but for now, these guys are racing so fantastically clean. It's making for a great race. As now you see Justin Michael just pulling away from Christian Peterson. And Christian Peterson trying to find every single inch of that racetrack to use. and trying to find a way to get around the number 87, or at least catch back up to him to set him up or wait for a mistake coming into a corner or coming out of a corner.
Yeah, and you're seeing the number 68, Scott Simley, coming to the picture. He's actually 3 laps down. He was involved in that accident on the first lap, or not the first lap, but on the first caution, I should say. And at this moment, he's trying to get himself to 2 laps down, which is still not going to be optimal, of course, but trying to get into these guys' battle and just get himself to the point where he doesn't have to feel as pressured. And he's fighting them hard. He's fighting them like he would if it was the only way he could get a lap back, which realistically, it's going to be difficult to get a lap back if he doesn't get it back the hard way. And he's got some rear end damage that's going to prevent him from doing that. So he's 26th position, 3 laps down, and there's multiple cars in front of him that laps down. So still going to be hard for him to pass on the inside as well as just getting his lap back. So that might be where he sits currently as we keep looking throughout the field. Aaron Bennett's still in 3rd with not really a charge at the moment for position. It actually does look like Simley's going to get around 23 right there, but going throughout the field, it looks like everyone else is kind of spread out until you get to around, well, it looks like, yeah, just about everyone else is pretty spread out. Maybe a battle for 15th between Michael Waite, who we thought was going to really make some big improvements on pit road, and who actually went the other way. He's fighting Mark McCrary right now.
Yeah, all these guys are spread out a little bit more and giving each other an inch. And, you know, it's just, these guys know they have another 100 laps to go. So, you know, maybe they're just trying to log some laps. Again, you know, morale boost from last week saying we don't want a repeat of that. So let's just give each other some room. Let's race it out a little bit more. As you see now, number 48 coming up on more lap traffic, and you know we see a couple cars with damage, and you just see them fall back, and it's just got to be still heartbreaking to just not be able to, you know, contend anymore because of an incident that happened, but still have to be out on the track in order to get some more points. So it's just got to be such a heartbreak for all these drivers that were involved in that first accident, that are still having trouble with their cars. You know, it's just absolutely a heartbreak.
And that lead only is 3 tenths between Justin Michael and Christian Peterson, but it does get bigger every single lap. Start to look at Aaron Bennett. He was 2 seconds behind these guys, a little bit over 2 seconds behind Justin Michael and Christian Peterson. He is actually catching these guys, and for a guy who is probably cased in 10 inches of snow at his actual house, I don't know how his internet is working, to be 100% honest. He's coming through the field, and I don't know how much practice time he got. He wasn't in the session the entire 2 hours to make any kind of improvements. And we know Aaron to be really good at these momentum-style tracks. He did really good at Auto Club, and he's doing really good tonight here at Charlotte. I think it's really in the cards for him to do some work, and he got 3 tenths off Justin Michael that last time, and that's a lot. 3 tenths is, I think, one of the biggest chomps of time that we've seen anybody take off. And he's running that top side. He's not running anywhere else. He's running top only. He's not running the top and the bottom or arcing it in. He's just going to the top. And so another couple tenths off that time. And look out, Aaron Bennett is coming.
And you see him just closing in ever so slightly, and you know, within the next couple 10, maybe 15 laps, he's going to be the back bumper of Christian Peterson. Christian Peterson has got to be thinking about what line is he running, how am I going to defend my line, and yeah, caution's out on the track.
Caution flag is out on the raceway. Looks like turn number 1 and 2, blown engine for Robert Gillenwater. Chris Gabot, Dwight Beverly is involved in this one, and we'll have to see exactly what happened, but it looks like possibly that happened in turn 1. Looks like the 5 of Chris Gabot and the 01 got together, and they had gotten into it earlier in the race. That was what the first caution was for, not them corresponding into getting each other, but the 4 was caught up in an accident because of the 01 earlier on in the race.
Yeah, and you know, it's just again a section of close racing, and you know, it's just got to be difficult for all these guys. Again, you know, halfway through the race and you know, it's just absolute heartbreak. And you see the replay up on the screen right now. You see the drivers just trying to make a move happen, and it just all happens so quickly for everybody. And you know, you got to avoid and you know, just heartbreak for all these drivers that were involved. Innocent bystanders, just wrong place, wrong time. And you see the number 4 just come down and get into that number 6 machine.
Looks to me as though whenever the 01 was starting to get his run into the corner, he had come up the track, actually got into the 4, and that's when he got turned around. So double dose of damage for both those machines is probably going to take them out of the race entirely. Looks like the 5 at Chris Cabot is not going to be too bad off, although he got in the outside pole to slow his truck down, and then he got some left rear damage, so still going to be in 11th place, but pit stops did ensue just now as I was looking at the replay, and looks like Justin Michael is going to edge out ahead of everybody else, but where is Christian Peterson? Looks like he is currently out of the pits, but well behind. So we'll have to get the scoop on that. We'll take a quick commercial break right here, gather all the information we need to, and we'll be right back for the green flag. Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway as Justin Michael leads the field. Top 5 is Michael, Terrell, Bennett, Merchant, and Matthews. Christian Peterson either had a penalty or just fixed some damage on his machine, so he's well back and far away. So Justin Michael's already on the gas. Rain flag out for this restart here for our second one of the night. And we are racing once again. Halfway through this race, we'll get a midway race update in just a little bit. Will these guys race here for a few laps, but looks like the 14 of Bobby Terrell is not going very good, and he's going to lose a couple spots on that one. Actually make it 3. Look at the 12 of Greg Ball. He's come all the way up from 27th to 5th. Biggest mover aside from Aaron Bennett right in front of him. But these guys really fast right now.
Yeah, and making a point back to Christian Peterson, number 23 in 14th position now. We've seen him come back up through the field, so I don't think he's going to be having a really big problem. Already gaining one position. Looking back now towards the front, number 88 of Jamie Walker trying to make a move on the number 54 of Tim Matthews. And now you see a battle for the race lead between Seth the Merchant and Justin Michael. Seth the Merchant on the top side, trying to work that top groove, and now you see him just pedaling away from the number 80 or 57, 87. of Justin Michael, now taking the spot away. Now you see the number 3 of Aaron Bennett moving down to the bottom of the track. 87 trying to do what Seth the Merchant did on him, but it's not working out too well. You see Justin Michael falling back further, and now you see a absolute hornet's nest behind number 3 of Aaron Bennett. Aaron Bennett now up to 2nd position. Number 12 machine also in 3rd, and 87 just falling back ever so slightly.
There's a big colossal group right here behind Bennett and Mall right here for 3rd and 2nd, or 3rd and 4th. Oh yeah, 3rd and 2nd. And any little mistake these guys can make is gonna be a big deal. Yeah, the 87 just fell back so drastically, and he's trying to get a nose in on the 14 on the outside lane. This is gonna get really hairy right here between these guys if they're not careful. Yeah, 87 is not going to be thrilled about that. Losing those positions very quickly. He's gonna have to try and get those all back. That's going to be a really hard one. That's going to be really hard to do with these guys. Look at the 12 for Greg Mall trying to pass teammate Aaron Bennett here for position. He's got himself a nose right here. He might be able to clear him here out of 2, but not quite the case just yet. But that long line of drivers on the outside is looking very strong. But that bottom side, the only place really fast, and the 12's got it done. He's cleared the number 3. The 14's coming on the bottom side, and 3's going to be able to hold steady on the outside. But fantastic racing right here with these guys and a big pack.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see that bottom line starting to edge out that top line a little bit more as the night is wearing on. 107 laps in out of 200. And you see now just the 14 almost clearing the number 3. Maybe one more turn and he'll be good. You see the number 3 trying to get a little bit of a run, but you know, that 14 just got him out a little bit more. Bobby Terrell trying to get quick work done of Aaron Bennett, making him fall back. We went from 2nd to 4th very quickly. You see Aaron Bennett crossing up number 14 of Bobby Terrell, trying to get that position back. And now coming to turn 1 and 2, they're very side by side, but now the 14 making that top side work. I believe it's just the driver, it's not the line, because you see the number 3 working both lines, and number 14's edged him out on both lines.
Going back to the bottom, but the 87 there on the top side is looking really good right here. 87 of Justin Michael really looking to have a little bit of redemption after what happened. Look at him cut across the quad oval. He's got a lot of prove right here, as he had got the lead from one of the most proficient drivers in league racing on iRacing, Christian Peterson, out around him earlier on, and is doing really good job. But faltered just for a little bit, but I mean, look at Greg Ball, looking for his first win on the season. I think there's only his 3rd or 4th start so far this season, but he's doing a fantastic job as well. Ball had school earlier in the semester, or actually hold that thought for a moment, as we have a caution here. Front straightaway, looks like it's a 31 of Mark McCrary. He's going through the grass. We'll have to see exactly what the problem is. Looks like the number 31 and the 5 get together, but looks like Shane Hawthorne crawled up the track just a little bit. He made some contact and had to send him around, and it wasn't just a little hit, it was a really big hit, and 2 drivers on the lead lap get hit right there. And I think, oh my goodness, did the 98 make it out of that? Holy cow, I think Steve Herring's got himself a lucky horseshoe, because I don't think he hit him at all. That was really close though.
Yeah, and you know, cautions do breed cautions, so the more caution we're going to see, the more intensity that we're going to get. So you see just 11 came up a little bit on the number 5 machine and collected number 31, and I believe he did make it through. Now, just a little bit of grassy tires, but he did make it through. That was fantastic work by that number 98 machine of Stephen Herring, and that was very good work and very lucky indeed for the number 98 machine.
That puts us under caution for the 3rd time this evening. All drivers coming down pit road for their selection of tires. We'll see if anyone takes 2 tires this time. They didn't run that many laps. We had our caution right before lap 100. So these guys don't have less than 10 laps on their tires. So anyone taking a 2-tire gamble, this is the time to do it, just to see what you've got in that. So looks like maybe Greg Mall took 2 tires, and Maybe a couple other drivers think of the same as well, but a lot of drivers 4 tires on the machines. Looks like Seth the Merchant's out and away. 1454, they're gone and away. And this is going to be your top 5 right here. DeMerchant, Greg Mall, Bobby Terrell, Matthews, and looks like Aaron Bennett will get top 5 out of pit road. Right now, we will take a look at your midway race break presented by iRacing. I lost my script. I'll just go through the full field rundown here and we'll get back a little bit. So that's the Merchant. He leads the way of all these drivers. 32 out on the field tonight. And then Bobby Terrell, he's in 2nd place. And you've got Justin Michael in 3rd. Actually, let's wait for them to cross the start-finish line because it will need to do a little bit of updating. But DeMerchant will have the lead. And then I think the number 12 of... I think the 12 of Bobby Terrell, he will have that position. Or not Bobby Terrell. I'm getting everything mixed up here. But Greg Mall, Bobby Terrell, Tim Matthews, and Aaron Bennett. That's your top 5. Then Justin Michael, Jamie Walker, Jesse Williams, he's in 8th. John Jenkins, 9th. And then Michael Waite, he's in 10th.
In 11th, Steve Price Jr. 12th is Ricky Howell Jr. Christian Peterson looking to have him go up through the pack again. In 13th position. 14th position, Matt Mara. 15th will be the 36th of Joshua Banks. 16th, Steve Herring. Ralph Vandervoor set in 17th. 18th will go to Rich Jetty and Mark McCary. In 19th and 20th will go to Tommy Ryan.
And 21st is going to be the first car 1 lap down of Shane Hawthorne. Then you've got Scott Simley, 22nd. 23rd is Dustin Hall. Chris Gabot, 24th. 25th is Michael Atkins Jr. And then you've got 26th, Dwight Beverly. And these guys are multiple laps down and been in at least 1 or maybe even 2 wrecks. Michael Priester, 27th. James Nunn, 28th. Robert Gillenwater finds himself in 29th. Dwayne Dunn, 30th. Scott Formosa, 31st. And then Jody Green finds himself in the 32nd position. And that's been a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, you can visit iracing.com/World of Outlaws. Take advantage of some exclusive promo codes. You can get yourself on iRacing with a 1-year membership for half off, or simply give it a try with a 3-month membership for less than $5. Again, that's iracing.com/World of Outlaws. I finally got my little snippet there. But in all reality, that deal is not going to go on for much longer, and those are for new subscriptions. And these guys getting back ready to green. Merchant will lead these guys back to the green flag, and he's done his fair share of leading, and I think he wants to do a lot more of it. He came into the pits first, came out first, and I think Greg Mall also has something to prove here.
Yeah, and you see all these guys coming back to the green flag closely, and all these guys have got something to prove. I believe you're right on that, but also you just gotta fight your way through the pain.
Seth the Merchant did take 2 tires, I am being told, so expect the 57 to have a little bit of an interesting situation here for him. Green flag in the air. The Merchant will get a great start over the field. It'll take a little bit of hesitation from those back in the pack, but it goes straight to the bottom of the track. And the 12 will be right behind him, and then there's going to be really no battles inside the top 5 until you get outside of it with the number 38 of Michael Waite going side by side with the 41. But that lead is going to probably depreciate over some time as Greg Mall looks to have himself some good tires.
Yeah, and Seth the Merchant taking 2 tires, very interesting decision on his part, but we'll see how it works out for him in the long run. You see him starting to pull a little bit away from Greg Mall, but we have another car on the speedway.
Michael Waite, I think the 48, back up into traffic as well. He is going to get into the wall on the inside. Him and the 41, they were fighting side by side and going through the quad oval. I don't know who hit who, but I think the 41 came down the track a little too much, and then Michael Waite came down, and looks like he didn't hit anything until he came back up the track. And he collected... Actually, he hit nobody. The 11, or the 66 of Michael Vandervoort. There's so many Michaels in this series. Ralph Vandervoort, he did hit the outside wall pretty heavily. He's the only driver I see that has damage out of this wreck.
Yeah, it was very, very close call for all these drivers on the high side. You see the 11 getting to the wall, trying to avoid him, as well as the number 66. But, you know, that was a very interesting or odd wreck. You know, just two drivers getting together, but really keeping it off the walls, and fantastic driving by the number 48 and the 41. 48 barely clipped the inside wall. That was just because his car got up in the air a little bit and wasn't able to really control it. But you see these guys both rolling away, and as well as the other two that got into the wall a little bit.
That is going to slow our progress down once more throughout the night, but we do have some drivers coming down pit road. Like we're going to see Steve Price, the 48, and Christian Peterson's coming down. I think Christian might have something wrong with his car, at least right now, because, yeah, he's got some major front end damage, which I don't have a clue where it came from. I really don't, but nonetheless, he's got it. That's why he's come down pit road so many times. I think it happened much earlier on in the race, but he's trying to get it fixed. But as he is down pit road, and as a lot of other drivers are down pit road, we'll take another opportunity to step aside. We'll be right back here on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Hi, I'm Chris Page. I work here at iRacing. Been here 2 days before launch, actually, is when I got started. So we have developers working on front-end web development. We have back-end guys specializing there. We have DevOps that are dealing with networking, servers, a database team, so many different teams because there's lots of different work to do. The new user interface, which we call Scorpio internally, is a complete overhaul. So in the case of results, the way that it has historically worked is you would request results. The request would be sent to the server, which would then query the database, compile that, and send it back. What we're doing now is whenever we get the results of a race, we'll compile those results and push them up as a static page cached so that when you need it, it's available for you. It doesn't need to be computed on the fly. It will be much faster and scale much better. Just began with reimagining the website. We took a step back and said, how do people use this? How do people want to use it? And our initial vision of leveraging the web and getting your stats there, finding out a schedule and joining, that was a good one. And we want to continue to support that as much as possible. We're also making a change so that you'll be able to just double click on the application and fire up and go racing that way. Jump from one race to the next without even leaving the application. The good news is this is a whole new infrastructure, so we'll be able to release it in parallel, and you'll be able to use the existing member site you're comfortable with, but still fire up the application and get the new experience. And that will really help us because as good of a job we've done, there's still things we can learn. And by running it in parallel, we'll be able to collect that data and make it an even better experience. We'll be able to learn by your input. So with the preview of the user interface, you'll be able to use the new feature Time Attack and be able to experience some of the existing functionality, but we still haven't done everything, and that will come over time. We're going to have tighter integration with the sim and the back end than we ever have before. So as an example, in Time Attack, whenever there's a new best lap time, we take that lap data and we push it up into the cloud. What then happens is when you're in Time Attack, you're launching a session, you can pick anyone's best lap time and race against it, whether that be a friend or the leader in your current company.
Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway as Seth the Merchant once again will lead these drivers to the start of another restart here on lap 120, getting closer to the end of this 200-lap race, the longest of the season. Seth the Merchant waits, and he will get an awesome launch here, and He's off 2 car lengths in front of everybody else. Looks like Greg Mall will try and have to contend with the 87 on the bottom, who's got himself a great run. Justin Michael looking for redemption earlier on in this race as they go side by side.
Side by side indeed, as you see just 4 rows of 2x2, and it's just getting exciting as you see the 12 jump down behind the number 87, and 14 and 64, 88 and 3 are still battling away side by side. Throw 18 and 91 into that mix, but 88 is going to try and jump down, maybe 3 wide, thinks better of it. Lap 122 closing in on the final stages of this race, but you see just Seth the Merchant start to run away from all these guys in the beginning.
2 by 2 they go here for the top 5 position. Darrell, Bennett, Walker, and the number 54 of Matthews. They're just absolutely really close to each other right here. Any little mistake, as we've seen, looks like the 54 goes up the track just a little bit, maybe makes a little bit of contact, but right now these guys are losing a lot of splaters, and unsure whether they care at lap 123, but they are indeed losing just a little bit of time on everybody. But looking in front, we've got Greg Mall, Michael, and Merchant kind of just settling out. They're having, just really trying to just, do some really good consistent laps where everyone else is having a hard time passing or hard time defending their position. But really, what Charlotte's really been doing really good for us tonight is producing some really good side-by-side action. But those leaders kind of have it easy. They're going single file and not really looking back.
Yeah, the number 12, Greg Mall, just made quick work of all these guys up towards the front. Now he's in 3rd and getting himself a good distance between him and the number 14. 14 starting to reel him in a little bit more, actually. Check that. And Tim Matthews and Aaron Bennett starting to work side by side together a little bit more, and 88 trying to get inside that mix a little bit, trying to get around. And I think the only way he's going to get around is either one of these drivers makes a mistake, or he's going to have to force it 3 wide. But maybe keeping a little bit more at bay here with the number 20 or lap 125, wanting to not be too risky here. But you see now the number 3 working away, pulling away from the number 54 of Tim Matthews, opens up the door for Jamie Walker, and now closing in will be the number 18 and 91. Then you see a little bit of a battle between Christian Peterson, Matt Mara, and Tommy Ryan. Christian Peterson working that top side alongside of Tommy Ryan. Then 22 right behind him, now switching down to the bottom lane. And 23 trying to get back up to that top spot that he had before.
Yeah, battle for the lead ensuing. Seth the Merchant is trying to fight off Justin Michael, who's looking very hungry. He's fighting very aggressively to get another win on the season. 3 drivers have won in this series so far. And right now, looking at these 2 fighting at the front, if those 2 can get to the end of the race, no matter which one of them wins, they will continue the streak of just those 3 drivers winning. Justin Michael, he has won twice on the season. Christian Peterson has won twice, and Seth the Merchant has won 4 times this season. They've done a great job of securing those top 8 those first 8 races. But right now, battle between winners right now is those first 2 spots. And I think Justin Michael, like you said, sizing him up, waiting for an opportunity. And right now, I think it still rings true is that the 57 and was on some tire strategy down pit road that last time. So should be a little bit easier for the 87 to get around him as he's looking to the bottom of the track here in the quad oval.
Yeah, Seth the Merchant was on 2 tires, and 87 should, statistically be able to pass him fairly easily, but 57 able to keep the number 87 back for the time being. But you never know how long it's going to take for Justin Michael to, make a drastic move, maybe go to a lane that number 57 ain't using. As you see, the number 87 starting to get a little bumper down in between him and the quarter panel. Coming to the stripe, gonna be Seth the Merchant, but he is there, and Justin Michael is there right next to Seth the Merchant. As you see now, he's edging him out a little bit more in the turn, and very, very close to the number 57, trying to get a side draft. Now the 87 jumps back into line, and here we go in turn number 3 and 4, trying to set him up.
Yeah, he looks to be the superior truck at this point, and right at turn number 4, gets right up to his bumper. He's not faltering. He's looking to the outside. Now he's going to look down to the inside here, and he's going to be right there, but is he going to be able to make the pass work this time? And all the while, Greg Mall looms in the distance. He's going to go right next to him, try and get right up next to his side, but he's not going to have it. He's going to have to pull right back behind him, and he needs this lead pretty soon because Mall is going to have to fight the Merchant the same way he's doing right now, and this has taken a long time for him to try and get that pass executed, and I really don't know how long those tires are going to last for Seth the Merchant. So still top 4 drivers single file, but Michael is still really gunning for him. But every other corner, he's able to really get beside him, get a great run into the corner, but just is not able to make that pass work.
Yeah, with this, number 57 of Seth the Merchant is indeed burning off his tires, and 87 might as well be doing the same with them going down to the bottom every single time. You see 87 getting his left sides right on that white line, and with that, you know, you're burning off your tires fairly quickly. Not as quickly as traditional tracks, but, you know, fairly quickly, and they're going to need to conserve a little bit more. As you see the 57 going down, just blocking his lane, doing something different, trying to get using every single part of the track, and, you know, making that great entrance down below and then exiting up top to get that run. But now the 87 moving down below the 57 of Seth the Merchant, and just trying to get something done. You see him charging so hard, and it's starting to work for him a little bit more, and just when you think he's gonna try and get him to pass, it doesn't work out for him. You see a little bobble from that 87. You know, that's the dangers of running that white line and flirting with that apron. You could just get loose out of nowhere and turn yourself around, so you got to be very careful with that as well.
He just keeps on trying, but the ball is going to be right in his heels as well, but he has kept on working on him so far, and it's getting really close. It's about every single time he's able to make it just closer and closer to getting around him, but Greg Ball's got something for both of these guys as he's hit on him fairly quickly, and it's only a matter of time before something happens. 87 goes under him, and he's going to get a great run at turn number 3. He's going to the very bottom, but I don't think he's going to be able to get him quite yet. 57's got the momentum on the top side, and where does Greg Ball go? He goes right behind all this action, and he's not going to be able to get the pass done. And this is really critical that he tries to get it, and I don't think he's going to be able to get it quite yet, and he's going to edge out in front. He's going to have to dive it down to turn 3, I think, if he's going to get the pass done, and he's got Greg Mall all over his back bumper. He goes side by side still. I don't think he's got it right here. He's actually slowed up just a little bit before the corner. Here's where Greg Mall can make some real headroom. He's going to the outside of both these drivers. He's looking for a place to go. He's looking for one of these drivers to edge the other out.
You see just the 57 trying to get it working. You see the 12 now actually maybe thinking about that middle lane. You see him just peer into the inside of that lane below the number 857 of Seth the Merchant, and he thinks about it, but he thought better of it, waiting a little bit longer. Maybe get the back bumper of that 57 in the turn. Maybe if he hit that, that would have been really bad for all 3 of those drivers. But patience is starting to wear thin here, coming to lap 138. Now you see the 87 just working so hard, but now the 12 has taken his spot, and 87 going to try and get that spot back as the number 57 has still taken that lead. Greg Mall trying to challenge him, maybe with a little better tires, because again, I mentioned these guys are burning their tires off, and now number 12 is edging him out a little bit more, better than the 87 was, so definitely has better tires. Oh, a little bit of contact. That could have been catastrophic as well. Let's see if he can get this job done here in turns 1 and 2. You see him a little bit at a time. Yes, he's going to be.
There he goes.
Let's see what happens in turn number 3 and 4. Let's see how 57 retaliates. Greg Mall is now your new leader.
Greg Mall has the faster truck, was able to get to him, and he absolutely just put his bumper right in front of Seth's, able to get the job done. So this will be his 2nd lap lead of the night, and what a terrific fight that the 12 has had. Seeing how much he worked on Texas, going from the back to third. Here, he's gone from 27th to 1st. And has done a fabulous job and got around one of the best in business, Seth the Merchant. Now the Merchant and the 87 of Michael, we'll have to see if they go back and battle a little bit. But remember, pit stops might be in the looming distance here on this one. One lap with 141, and we just had pit stops not too long ago on that last restart, but we will have them again. That battle for second also looking to be coming in the couple laps. But also want to give an update on Christian Peterson. He's back into 5th position as well. I think he might have got a lot of that damage fixed, but it's still very much there. I don't think that number 23 is a winning truck anymore, but he's going to try and make everything he's got of it. And he's one of a few trucks that come down pit road, and there comes the 87 of Justin Michael. He's looking to take advantage of a short pit option. Looks like maybe the 91 and the 18 went to come down pit road too, but he must have missed it. So he's going to come back another time. That's the second time we've seen that happen today.
Yeah, different pit strategy starting to play out for this green flag pit stop. And now Greg Mull still in the lead, giving a little bit of a gap to Seth the Merchant, 1/100th of a second apart, and just becoming very, very close racing somewhat. And we'll see how these guys become more familiar with their pit strategies, and let's see if a caution comes from this. And we've been seeing them starting to ramp up a little bit more, but coming to lap 143, another green flag pit cycle on its way, and now you start to see some more drivers duck down.
Greg Mull staying out, though. He's got one of the best long-run cars in the business right now, doing a fabulous job of making that work out. And I've said it at Texas that he can do this again. He's going to be a hard guy to beat. And currently, right now, he's just making the most of it and doing a fabulous job. Not every day you can say that you just have come from 27th, the field crawled your way up there, and he's doing it. And when he's come down pit road, it looks like now's not the time, and continuing to really stretch it. And can he stretch it to make it a one-stop deal from here to the end? We'll just have to see.
Yeah, it could become another short pit, or could be able to make it to the end. Only time will tell with all these drivers cycling through. You see Seth the Merchant still out on track. Let's see if Greg Mull comes down pit road this time by, as you see him trying to use that bottom line, and I know he's going to bypass it this time. So only a matter of time before he uses that pit entrance. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as the time wears on. But now Jamie Walker inside of pit road, or coming out of pit road, and Ricky Howell Jr. as well coming out of pit road. Ricky Howell Jr. coming out of pit road. My apologies. So we'll see how these guys all take their pit stops this time.
Greg Mull really taking advantage of his situation, being the leader and having one of the fastest trucks in the long run. He still has not come down pit road. So I have a good feeling, of course, that this is going to be his strategy for the remainder of the race, is to try and just maximize his time out on track. And right now he's doing a pretty good job of it. So right now, Greg Mull leads over the rest of the field by a 1.2 second lead. Seth the Merchant has yet to come down pit road, and Bobby Terrell has yet to come down pit road. Jim Peterson has yet to come down pit road, and looks like Bobby Terrell changes his mind to Merchant as well. It's coming down. So those are a few drivers. Looks like Greg Mull, your leader, he's going to give it up as well. So this is going to be where these leaders start to come down, and this is an important pit stop right here, as you know, and we can imagine that this is going to either make or break some of these guys' race right here.
Yeah, you see number 12 coming down pit lane. Left sides are up, and that only two. No, sorry, my bad. Right sides went up as well. As you see him coming out of pit lane now, giving up the lead to Christian Peterson, and now Christian Peterson coming down pit lane right now. Let's follow him into his pit stall, passing on the lead to Tommy Ryan. As you can see him taking a couple laps, coming into his pit stall right now. Let's see if the right sides go up. Let's see what his call is. Right sides will go up. That will give him fresh Goodyears on that side, along with some Sunoco fuel, and appears to be that the left sides will be coming up as well. So 4 fresh Goodyears and Sunoco fuel, and he's on his way. I believe one more pit stop for him coming on later in the race, as he's pitting 1:49.
Almost the 150 lap marker here, as these drivers are still rounding this track. And if this was any other race, these guys would probably be done here in the next couple laps, or they would have already been done. Still have 50 laps of racing to go. This one is not over quite yet. Tommy Ryan led the last time by, and he currently finds himself out on the track still, trying to make this a really big stretch here. We're really waiting for Tommy to come down, but also look behind him. Jamie Walker is on really fresh tires. He's going to go right by him, zips his way around him, and he's going to unlap himself as Tommy Ryan only he's lapped everybody but those first 3 trucks now, and Matt Morrow's also going to wait for his turn to get his lap back. And so a lot of drivers going down pit road, but when does that 6 come down? Looks like he's still staying out here.
Yeah, Tommy Ryan just the only one out here, and as well as with Tommy Ryan's the only one out, and you see him just trying to take advantage, trying to get as many laps led as he can. Lap 152, well, it's very interesting to see when he'll come down. You see Justin Michael, the next car that's on the track that is behind Tommy Ryan. Tommy Ryan's starting to slow up a little bit. Here he comes down to pit lane. Let's see what cycle he'll do, either 2 or 4, as you see him just locking him up a little bit as he came down. Let's follow him into the pit stalls, coming down through the pit stall, finding his pit, making sure he gets a great entrance and a great stop so he doesn't and right sides will go up. So let's see if the left sides will go up as well. It appears so, and he's gonna have 4 tires and Sunoco fuel.
So that will complete pit stops. Tommy Ryan goes back out on the track. I believe that the 87 of Justin Michael will resume as your leader. He is one of the first to come down pit road, and it might be Jamie Walker and Greg Mall. So we will take our final time to step aside, but when we come back, we'll be non-stop to the finish of this race. This has been LSRTV's coverage of the BNC Lawn Lance Series here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
iRacing. You wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Welcome back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. You're watching Greg Mall navigate around the 11 right here and the 88 for position. He is the man on charge. He is the guy I have a good feeling is going to win this race. Currently, he's got to fight the 11 of Shane Hawther for just track space right here. He's trying to get around him right here, and really, Shane Hawther's kind of a roadblock in his way to get to the front, which is Justin Michael, who's 1 second ahead of him right now. And Hawther has, I think, fresher tires, but Greg Ball, I think, just really has the truck to get this done. He got 2 tenths that last time by, and so going to continue to watch him and Hawther. Hawther actually looks like he's going to start pulling away, but that lead is actually getting very small lap after lap. I think we'll have one more caution, or not one more caution. Well, we might have that, but I'm not going to say we will or won't, but we'll have one more pit cycle, undoubtedly, between now and the end of the race.
Yeah, pit cycles are always going to be a question coming into the final stages of the lap or the race, and you know, you got to decide whether you're going to quick pit or you're going to wait to the last possible second, or even if you're going to stretch your fuel mileage all the way to the end, which is going to be very, very rare, but it's also a possibility. And you know, it could be very exciting to see that come about. You know, you see a lot of guys in the NASCAR series, you know, just get broken because you know, they run out of fuel coming to the white flag or just a few laps to go. So we'll keep an eye on who stays out throughout the whole entire race and who's going to benefit from that, really, because you saw somebody stay out a few this last pit cycle and stay out a few more laps and just be able to log laps all by himself and be able to stretch it out and be able to, you know, get a few laps led under his belt. But you see the number 12 get to the back bumper of that number 11, almost a little catastrophic wiggle right there by the number 11 coming out of turn 4, now trying to make work of him on the inside or on the outside, trying to get that run on the outside run of the corner, seeing him through the top side, coming a little bit harder now, trying to make that run on the top side, closing in on the number 87 of Justin Michael, coming in turn 3.
These lap cars are really making it hard. He's going to move him out of the way. 3 wide for second. Well, not really, because those are lap cars, but the 87 just about had it with the 18, and I think that's the 12 is thinking about the 11, because that's him preventing him from getting up there. So some contact between those guys here in the late goings of this race, and there goes the 12 to the very bottom of the track, trying to get past the 11 so he can get to the lead here. And I think Shane Hawther finally figured out that, hey, these guys are fighting for the lead here, and this is a lot of time that has been bought for the 87 right here. And I'd say that Greg Mall now is where he wanted to be a few laps ago, and so he is going to continue his charge, but a lot of lap traffic is going to bar him from having that an all-important time. But he's already the back bumper of the 87 right here. You can see him already right there looking at his rear bumper, looking to the outside or looking to the inside. Not going to happen this time, but showing the nose, showing that he's there, and these lap trucks are coming back because they are actually faster than the 87 right now. But here he goes to the bottom. Number 12 of Greg Mall looking for the lead, and he's got himself a fast truck, but does he have a fast enough one to get the lead here in turn number 1? Goes down to the very bottom of the track, and he definitely will have it right here. Clears the 87 into the corner, and so you're going to have a new leader of the 87, or the 12 of Greg Mall.
Number 12, Greg Mall, absolutely dominated him right there, and he had a little trouble getting to him, but once he got to him, you know, it was just very easy pass on the inside, and now you see the 87 of Justin Michael, after holding off for so long, using up all his tires, starting to fall back a little bit more, coming to 30 laps to go in a few laps time, and Greg Mall trying to pull away as much as he can, and hoping that that number 87 of Justin Michael falls back a little bit more behind the 11, but I don't know if that will happen. but he started to pull away a little bit more a lap at a time. You see, that was fantastic work by him. But now you see, look a little further back in the pack. Look who it is. It's Christian Peterson passing the number 88 on the inside, working his way back up to the front. You saw him early in the race fall a little bit. Oh, he's in the wall in turn 1, a little bit sideways. That leaves the door open for Jamie Walker to pass him back. Now he's going to have to make work of the number 88 again.
This is a very uncharacteristic night for him as he has ran into the wall. And yeah, like you said, that does leave the door open, but he's still got himself a faster truck than the 88. And so despite the damage, he is going to actually come down pit road to come and cycle that machine. So despite being faster, this will be his final pit stop of the night. And that's a shame for him to have that issue, but he will continue to try and make things happen for him. But yeah, definitely not what he wanted to see. Right now, though, is still Greg Mall at the very front of the field, and I've got to think, does he have the fuel to make it to the end of this race? And crucially, I really don't know. Only time will tell, but he's going to continue his stretch of 1.3 second lead over everyone else. Doing a really good job of kind of just doing what he needs to do. And 2.6 seconds over Bobby Terrell, as a lot of drivers came into pit that last time. He's been really close a couple times last season to getting a win, and right now I think he's got the opportunity to go do it.
Last time Greg Mall pitted was around 147 or 148, so it's very hard to tell and very hard to see him making it all the way to the end on fuel. But that was a very interesting decision by Christian Peterson, you know, short pitting that, and you know, seeing that he had a very difficult pass right there and into the wall, and he said, you know, I'm already in the wall, you know, might as well just go pit and see what happens from it. And now you see just a lot of other drivers came down pit road as well. That leaves 10 drivers on the lead lap. That'd be Seth the Merchant, the last car in the lead lap, coming out of pit road right now, along with Michael Waite coming into pit road in his pit stall with the number 93. And we'll take a look to see how long Greg Mall stays out on track and comes down for his final pit cycle.
Yeah, I'm really curious when he's going to come down, just because of the sole fact that he doesn't come down soon. He's probably committed to making it to the end of the race on fuel, but I can't imagine he'd come from that far. Just I'd be pretty shocked if he does that, but still, his lead only continues to grow over Bobby Terrell. He's got to have something under his sleeve where he knows exactly what he's doing. So he continues to run. Looks like the 14 of Bobby Terrell. He's going to come down pit road, so that kind of tells you where we're at. Greg Mall being 14 seconds in front of everyone else. So what he's got to do, those drivers being 14 seconds behind him and probably more as they'll go on laps, is he looks like he's coming down this time around. Greg Mall comes down pit road to get his service.
Watching number 12 of Greg Mall, the leader, coming down to get service, comes into his pit stop very cleanly, knows he needs to get in cleanly and out cleanly. Perfect pit stop for him, as this is his final one. 25 laps to go. This is all in the line for Greg Mall. Right sides go up as long with the left sides. So let's see how his exit will come out and where he will cycle through. Joshua Banks now taking over the lead with Steve Herring in second. We'll be looking to see when they will come out or come in to pit road, watching the number 12 of Greg Mall come out, seeing what cars will be around him when he comes out back onto the track and makes that very, very close call coming onto the backstretch. Let's see how he makes it happen. You see his right sides on that line. You see Christian Peterson passing him for possibly the race lead. I'm not too sure.
Either way, he's going to come out and have a lot of drivers to continue to pass. I wonder if this was too late of a time to come down pit road, but the 87 of Justin Michael will lead the way. He finds himself in turns number 1. He's still got to get around Joshua Banks and Steve Herring as they're doing some strategy, trying to hope for a caution right now, but he would take over the lead. And then he's got Ralph Vander Vorst and Shane Hawthorne, who are laps down, and then Christian Peterson would find himself in second off a strategy. And I don't blame him for trying that strategy coming down, but then he'll have Jamie Walker, he'll be right behind him. Then that's where you find Greg Mall. So Greg Mall's got a lot of work to do, but he will have the fastest truck out of everyone in front of him just because of tires. So this one getting down to the wire, and it's getting real juicy here.
Absolutely, it's getting real juicy indeed, and I see number 98 still in the lead, looking to see when he will come down into pit road. And 87 right behind him. You know, I believe he will be the leader once Steve Herring comes into pit road, but for the time being, that's another lead change. And Christian Peterson right behind and number 87, Justin Michael. Christian Peterson, is, we mentioned before, you know, he was having some difficulties early on in the race, but now he's back up to technically second because Steve Herring hasn't pitted, but third for the time being. And the back bumper of Justin Michael is a little bit bent up, so we'll see how his aerodynamics come into play a little bit later on, as it'll be close. And Greg Mall a little bit behind Justin Michael.
Playing his two trucks is Jamie Walker and Greg Mall in this top 5 group right now, and the fastest one of them is Greg Mall, and I think he's the favorite right now. I think it's hard not to root for him right now, just because of the fact that he's got the speed to get back up there, and he's kind of been a flawless driver, just done what he needs to do, and hasn't really, whenever it mattered, he just got right up to the front. And I think the way he does it is just a lot differently than these other drivers, and so he's going to sit behind the 88 as the 88 executes the pass on the 23, and he's going to be on the other side of him as well to, of course, get the pass done. So Christian Peterson will lose out on those 2 spots right there, but I think him in the situation that he was in, he had to on pit road, he had to try something, he had to get at least a little bit of damage fixed. But here goes Greg Mall under the 88 right here. Greg Mall has speed. He's going to the underside of him. He's going to get around Ralph van der Vorst here on the front quad oval right here. And here he comes. Justin Michael is not too far within the distance.
Yes, he is. And now setting his sights really on Justin Michaels. That was a fantastic pass to the number 87, 80, or excuse me, number 88. 88 gets into the side of the number 66, and very, very fortunate to keep it under control. Now the number 12 challenging for the lead. 87 trying to battle back on that outside, but it's not going to happen. You see him edging him out now. Well, technically for the lead, excuse me. Steve Herring is still in the lead, but waiting for him to pit. Number 12 taking away that second position for the time being. But that was a fantastic pass and fantastic effort, but definitely seeing that damage to the back bumper come into play for the number 87 of Justin Michael. Jamie Walker setting his sights on the number 87 for now.
Greg Mall returns back to the lead as the strongest truck right now by far. So right now he's going to pave the way before all these drivers, and well, he's not in the lead just yet actually. He's still got to get to Stephen Herring, but right now he's in a prime position to take over. If a caution does come out, I think he's still in a great position. Even if Steve Herring was to play this strategy perfectly and stay out, I think he's still in a position to really get the job done, because Steve Herring actually is coming down pit road. So officially give that lead back to Greg Mall. And really, this guy is green the rest of the way. Greg Mall's got it done.
Absolutely, and he deserves it. He worked so hard to get back to that lead, and he just passed everybody that he could, and now he's starting to pull a little bit away at a time. Now 0.08 of a second in front of Justin Michael. That was fantastic work by him, and really that's the only battle. Everybody else separated, excuse me. Justin Michael and Jamie Walker battling for second position. Jamie Walker closing in ever so slightly on him, almost to the back bumper of that 87, and we'll have to be watching this a little bit more as 15 laps to go here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
I think it's going to be very difficult to get around him, and looking throughout the field, that battle for second is looking pretty dang good. I mean, Justin Michael's fending off Jamie Walker, and Walker, I think, has the faster truck of the two, but and these two have been doing battle over the years as well, and so seeing these two go to battle once again is going to be a good sight to see. But right now, at this point, it looks like Jamie Walker is going to try the top side, but currently not going to work out. He's got the momentum, but I think Justin Michael really has the top side down, and Those two drivers right next to each other on the track, and looking back and looking at Christian Peterson going to pit early was a really good decision. I don't know if he'll be able to keep that for long, but he needs all the points he can get because he's really far back. So Bobby Terrell's going to start hunting him down. Christian Peterson is 3.1 or 3.7 seconds off the lead, and Bobby Terrell is roughly the same as he was last time. So he gained about 3 or 4 tenths on Christian Peterson. So imagine that Peterson might get back to 5th before this one's over, but nothing's guaranteed right now. As race still has to be won. We still have 13 laps to go.
Yeah, 13 laps to go indeed, and Greg Mall, fantastic lead now in 88. Working that number 87 on the inside line. We'll have to see how long this battle persists for. They got a little bit of damage on the back bumper of each of them do, and 87 able to work him out on that exit and on the backstretch now into 3 and 4. 87 coming out on top on that top lane, and 88's gonna have to line up the number 87 again and try again in a few laps time. Coming down to 10 laps to go next time by. Christian Peterson a little too far back to make something happen in the top lanes, but coming down to crunch time at the end of this race.
Sure is, and seeing a lot of lap cars still in the mix here late in the goings of this race. All they're trying to do currently is just get to where they need to be. Realistically, they just kind of have to ride this one out. Justin Hall losing a lap right there. Next driver to lose a lap would be Joshua Banks, but he has the freshest tires of anyone right now. And looking throughout your field, it appears that Greg Mall not only is going to have a really not easy, of course, but he's gonna have to navigate the next 11 laps or so. But Greg Mall is also your biggest mover. So coming through the field, we saw this at Texas, saw the speed he had, and I knew if he came into a race where he practiced a little bit more and had a little bit of, if he qualifies, I wonder what's going to happen here in the next few weeks. I mean, he didn't qualify for the Texas race either because it was his first race back. This guy's got some talent, and he needs to qualify. I want to see how good he does when he qualifies.
Yeah, absolutely. As you see the number 88 and 87 still battling it out, and 88 just trying to make that work on him on that inside line, but 87 able to keep him back. As now you see lap 192 whittling down to the final stages of this race, and 88's just trying to get a handle on him and trying to get it past him. He sees that he has back bumper damage. We've been talking about that for a while, and just trying to get around him.
And looking throughout, Bobby Terrell's starting to itch up on Christian Peterson. Bobby Terrell's got himself a fast Muscle Milk Chevrolet here in the late goings of this race, and he has also fought through a lot of changes throughout this race. Thing that he's been kind of up and down throughout the season, has had a couple bad races here and there, but right now he's looking pretty strong to get himself a 5 position. Tommy Ryan as well. I haven't really talked about him a whole lot throughout this season. Tommy Ryan just outside the top 5, looking for a good finish as well, and right now in the closing laps of this race finds himself in the 6th position. But I tell you, the guys who I thought were going to be there at the end but just weren't, and that's John Jenkins and the number 3 of Aaron Bennett. Those guys, and then Merchant as well. I'm just so surprised by these 3 drivers in particular who did so well. They're grouped together in 10th, 11th, and 12th, and I think the Merchant out of all of them, I'm really shocked that they're not up there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Seth the Merchant, you saw him up in the lead in the beginning stage of this race, and now he's all the way back to P12. Christian Peterson, same position, but not as far back in the field. But Greg Ball is loving to see all these guys battle it out. That gives Greg Ball a little bit more opportunity to run away. As you see now, 88 using the number 48 as a pick, a little bit more to his advantage, and 88 passes the number 87 with ease with the help of the number 48, able to complete that pass. Now he's going to try and reel down the number 12 of Greg Mall, but just might be a little too late as the 48 goes into the wall a little bit and able to keep it straight and keep going straight.
And the 88 did get that pass done, so he will find himself in second with a few laps to go. But as we start to wind down this race, if a caution were to come out, Greg Mall would immediately become the winner, unless he pulls Mark Martin and does not somehow get to the start-finish line. So 4 laps to go for Greg Mall to win this race, and he's all but dominated. 4.5 seconds over the rest of the field. I've heard of a driver doing a fantastic job of getting himself to the front, but this is a really big statement here for him, as he is just I'll tell you that he's really worked for this one. And I actually met Greg at Kansas Speedway just at this past race. It was good to see him there, and he's done a really good job throughout the season of when he came back, I should say, of just making his races count when he's in, because he hasn't been able to be here for all the races. Kind of like a few other drivers like Christian Peterson, Peterson as well. He's trying to get his car limped around the field, and actually, looking back at it, looks like Bobby Terrell's going to be right there looking for position. So, battle for position here in the late goings. We're going to have 2 laps to go at the start-finish line, but this battle for, looks like 4th position's getting pretty close. Oh, he's going to give him a bump. Christian Peterson goes to the bottom side. He's going to have the 14 goes outside.
Yeah, you see a little battle intensifying now. 23 keeping number 14 at bay as much as possible. Bobby Terrell trying to push through to the end. Popsicle sticks are in the air. Christian Peterson able to keep that 4th position for now. We'll see how he sets him up for the rest of the race. And coming out of turn number 4, we'll see if he gets some sort of a run or anything. Moving up to the top of the track, you see 14 closing in ever so slightly. He's going to try the top side again. Coming into turn 1, white flag in the air. We're going to turn our attention. Oh, no, we're not. The 14 and the 23 collide, but they're able to keep it straight. We're going to turn our attention to Greg Mall now. Coming into turns 3 and 4. I was very close.
He's going to come through turn number 4, and Greg Mall, despite the action in turn 1, he's going to win this 200-lap race after 300 miles of action. And Greg Mall is going to be one happy guy coming from 27th to win this one. Greg Mall deserves victory, and so very much. He's done this a couple times, going from the back to the front, and what a job he has done. So Greg Mall, he will win. Jamie Walker finishes 2nd, Justin Michael 3rd, and Christian Peterson, Bobby Terrell, they get into it on the final lap, but still finished 4th and 5th. Greg Mall on the front straightaway. We'll watch what he does. He will, I think, do a burnout, but I'd be surprised if he didn't. Well-deserved burnout for him. We'll watch him do that. We'll also go through your full field rundown of where your favorite drivers finish. Greg Mall finishes in the 1st position and gets the win tonight. Jamie Walker finishes 2nd, Justin Michael 3rd, Christian Peterson and Bobby Terrell 4th, 5th. You've got Tommy Ryan finishes 6th, where his car number is, and then you've got Tim Matthews, who finishes 7th, Matt Mora finishes 8th, John Jenkins 9th, and Steve Price Jr. finishes 10th.
Seth the Merchant finishing 11th, Aaron Bennett 12th, Joshua Banks, the last car on the lead lap, finishing 13th. 14th will go to Dustin Hall, Steve Herring 15th, Michael Waite 16th, Ralph Vandervorst at 17th, Ricky Howell Jr. 18th, Scott Simley 19th, and Michael Atkins Jr. 20th.
Finishing 21st, Shane Hawthor. Then you've got Mark McCrary, finishes 22nd. 23rd is Chris Cabot. Chris Jetty finishes 24th. Jesse Williams, 25th. Dwayne Dunn finishes in the 26th position. Dwight Beverly, 27th. 28th, Michael Priester. James Nunn finishes 29th. Robert Gillenwater, 30th. Scott Moses, 31st. Jody Gray, 32nd. And then Randy Tesser did not actually start the race, so technically will finish in the 33rd position. Well, now Greg Mall finally has damage on his truck as he hits the outside wall on his parade lap. So we'll take a moment and step aside. We'll be back with Greg Mall, Jamie Walker, and Justin Michael when we return. This is going to be a quick one, guys.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSRTV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Live Sim Racing LLC and iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations. LSRTV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.
Welcome back to Charlotte Speedway, as we are going to try and get a hold of your winner, Greg Mall. We're going to catch up with him in victory lane. Greg, buddy, you got the job done. You started from 27th position. You need to talk to us about this race, because watching you go from the back, I said before this race that you did it at Texas, and this track is pretty similar to it. You did it again, and this time you won. Just how does that happen?
Yeah, I'm still trying to get it soaked in, but yeah, it was I don't know. I was kind of going along the same mindset as Texas. Was just, I don't know if I was really all that comfortable as far as turning a hot lap, and I didn't really feel the real need to kind of start mid-pack as far as those that qualified. But I mean, we were able to hang around right around 15th to 20th spot, right there, the first quarter to third part of the race, and then got a string of cautions there, and was just able to kind of do a little bit different on pit strategy than the rest of the guys that I was kind of around at the time, right past the halfway point. And I mean, from there on, we were just able to keep the track position, and yeah, I don't know if that last run was going to be enough to get past all the time that I had lost as far as what Justin and those guys kind of did as far as short putting there on that last run, but I guess we had enough tires when it was all said and done, so pretty thrilled about that.
Yeah, seeing your strategy, you just kind of ran longer than anyone else was doing throughout the entire race, and that's what got it done for you. Speaking of points, I know this is going to be a huge deal for you, but you're still really far back there, and there's a couple of you out there that are kind of trying to get back into the thick of it. Just from the points, I think this would give you, I mean, this would obviously is the best that you can do in terms of points, but whenever you start to look at where you are at, you're 36 in points. You've got a long way to go if you're going to try and make the 12. How are you going to do it?
Yeah, I think we definitely had our work cut out as far as having a bad week at Talladega, but it's just, I think from this point on, I mean, I think we came into tonight with about, I want to say it was probably 120 some odd points off of the cut line last time I checked. But yeah, tonight, I mean, that was definitely the best step in the right direction. It's going to have to be a situation where we're definitely going to have similar weekends like this, similar weekends to what we had at Texas. But it's, I don't know if the win's necessarily going to have to be the key for every weekend. That's certainly not a bad goal to have, but I'd say definitely a top 5 for each following week here from here on out to the playoffs is definitely going to have to be the key as far as trying to get to that point.
Well, Greg Mall, as always, it's a pleasure to talk to you. And almost 2 hours into this race, after it was all done, a very long race. Who makes it done for you on the 12 machine? Yeah,
it's a pleasure talking to you again as always, Coop. But yeah, I gotta thank all the teammates of Young Guns. I know that we had a 1-2-3 finish tonight, so to sweep the podium is definitely an awesome feeling. I think that's probably the first time that's ever happened for the team. So, but of course, got to thank all the friends and family back home that are watching all their sports. This was definitely a great, very long, enduring race. I had a feeling that was going to be the case as far as getting into tonight, and we were just able to kind of just charge throughout the night and end up in the best spot in the house. So can't ask much more than that. But yeah, we're definitely looking forward to what we have to offer for the rest of the season, and see if we can't keep this momentum rolling.
All right, Greg, thanks for giving us a moment of your time. I'm going to send it down to Trevin, who will catch up with, I would believe it would be Jamie Walker. So we'll throw it over to him for Jamie.
Down here on pit road with the number 88 machine of Jamie Walker. Jamie, looking at the points coming in tonight, your third place. How do you continue to be so consistent and week in and week out to keep yourself up in the championship hunt?
Truthfully, at the beginning of the season, I struggled real bad. I had a lot of bad luck, but I'm finally starting to come around, getting it back into my groove here. So these consistent finishes is really going to start helping me out.
Coming out from a short track last week that was filled with cautions to this with a fantastic green flag run and cautions here and there. What was your strategy coming into tonight? You know, you had the longest race on the calendar, 300 miles, 200 laps here at Charlotte. What were your thoughts coming into the race tonight?
Well, on the initial start, my thoughts were to go straight to the front, but I don't know, somehow that inside line would not go nowhere, and I burnt my stuff up. And that first that first caution came out and ended up getting a little bit of fender damage there going up through the grass, so I had to start back there in the back with Greg, and I just followed him up through the field. It worked out pretty good.
All right, what line would you say was more of a advantage as the race wore on? We saw a lot of drivers using that top side, a lot of drivers using that bottom side. Which lane really worked for you?
I think as the run went longer, the bottom would come in definitely through 1 and 2. I feel it's pretty fast down there. That's my preference, though.
All right, who gets it done for you tonight in the 88 machine?
Well, everybody over there at the Young Guns Motorsports, we all finished 1, 2, 3 there. That's awesome. Congrats to Greg there. He did a good job, and everybody here in LSRTV, you guys do an awesome job as well.
Thank you. That's the number 88 machine of Jamie Walker. Austin, back to you.
I'm going to get our anchor number 3 for the night. I'm going to be talking with Justin Michael here. Justin, you finished 3rd on the night, and it looked like at one point you had one of the toughest trucks to beat, but at the end of the day, you got some rear end damage that might have created a little bit of a parachute on your machine. Talk to us about your night, though.
Yeah, I mean, we had a really good run early on, and I thought we might just pull away from everybody and coast to the win there, but that one yellow came out and kind of bunched us back up, and then green flag pit stops. Yeah, somebody looks like netcode ran into the back of me, but definitely slowed us down. I think I would have at least got second. Greg was hooked up, and I don't know what the heck where that came from, because he just up and left everybody. Good win for him, though.
I'll tell you what, for you in particular, this is, like we talked with Jamie, the consistent finishes that you two are able to have, and the fact that your team is 1 through 3 in this race, this is a really good performance for you. And it really helps you just with points in general. Consistent finishes like this are really good for playoff drivers and championship drivers that we're seeing. And from the likes that you and Jamie, we're big favorites going into the last year's playoffs. How does this kind of momentum build throughout the season and get into the playoffs?
I mean, it's definitely going to help. I mean, your goal should be top 5 every week just to keep the points and stuff. But definitely pull off a win here every once in a while, and all that will just make up really because you're going to have a bad race every once in a while. It happens. So, but definitely the Young Gun Motorsports team had a good finish, 1, 2, 3. I wish Aaron could have got up there and gave us a 4th. So maybe next time though.
Before we let you go, Justin, we will give you a moment. Give shout out to sponsors who makes it happen for you.
Yeah, just everybody out there watching. You guys for calling the race, Aaron for putting on the race, and 511 Tactical and AR15.com, and everybody out there supports our Second Amendment rights.
Well, we will chat to you some other time, but for now, we will send you back down. And well, Trevin, this has been one of our longest races of the year, so I will close fairly shortly tonight. So for all of us here at LSR TV, we do want to thank you for tuning in. You can keep up with us on social media, livesimracing.com, and we've got a lot of racing this coming week. On Monday, we've got RSR Icebreaker Series, and we've got the Pro Series, and I'm pretty sure we got the Myrtle Beach Series next Wednesday. Thursday night, Upstate Racing League is on Thursday, and Super Speedway Cup Series finale is on next Friday, so you're not going to want to miss any of it. So from all of us in the booth, I'm Austin Coop, Trevor Valderrama, Cisco Scarmuza, all of us in the booth, and then Evan, DJ, Laura, everyone who makes it happen for us. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next track.